and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to another edition of Custom House Maritime Matters. I'm Dr. George Spracacci, your host. Our co-host, Susan Tamalevich, director of the Custom House Maritime Museum. And before I go any further, I want to make sure you don't try to adjust the color on your TV because this is a red eye. I had a cataract removal day before yesterday, and red, white, and blue, I guess we're patriotic. The eye is doing fine. And I forgot this. The eye is doing fine, but the red color will go away also. Matter of fact, I can see better than I have been able to see in living memory. So not through walls yet, but working on that. Now back to the situation at hand. Once again, we have a good show for you, or as Ed Sullivan used to say, a good shoe.
We'd say a really big shoe because we have so many guests here today. We're starting off with Anna Perch, the new director of New London Main Street, and Christopher Jones, who owns the fabulous Monte Cristo bookstore.
Fabulous.
Which has just moved to like, you thought it was great before, but now it's all windows, all spectacular.
And where you moved to?
Oh, we moved to 38 Green Street.
Great.
Just like 2 blocks from us, really.
Yeah. Two blocks closer.
Diagonally, 2 blocks closer.
Out of all 6 blocks downtown.
And these two are going to talk at the beginning of the show about Fish Tales, which is a Main Street event that happens every summer. How many years is it, Anna?
This is its 8th year.
8th year.
And we also have Lisa Gorman here who will continue with us after that. Lisa is Secretary of the Carpenters Union, and that's very relevant to the discussion.
But her real identity is she is not only an author, but she is our #1 fan of the New London Harbor Light. So we're really happy to have you here, Lisa.
Terrific. Okay. As you know, this is live. However, a little difference today. The phones, I'm told, do not work today, so we won't be able to take the many phone calls that we receive here during these shows. Sorry about that. Also, this show, as usual, will be shown by DVD on Comcast and Metrocast shortly. Fridays, 6 p.m., Channel 12. So, what we'd like to do at this point is, Anna, hear from you and your new perch, if you will, New London Main Street.
No pun intended. Well, we are about to have our 8th annual, as you said, Fish Tales Tugs and Sails event down on the historic waterfront of New London on Saturday, July 27th from 11 to 4. And we're thankful that you're having us here today so that we can promote that and hope that every New London family comes on down with their kids and has a great day.
So what is it? What is Fish Tales, for those who don't know?
It's a completely nautically themed family event with some games for kids, some tugboats for kids and families to tour and go on, some performances.
And that's on the parade?
It's on the actual waterfront.
On Waterfront Park.
Park, yeah. And also, it's always been a literature themed event. So this year, as in all other years, we have 3 featured authors who are going to be reading nautically themed books to kids. So it's a 5 hours of jam-packed with fun stuff, and celebrating the park, which is just so beautiful and I think one of New London's best assets.
Could use a little landscaping.
Could.
Because it's so hot down there. But
That's
I'm
true.
Sure you'll have tents and things for everybody.
Oh yeah, there'll be a lot of tents.
Yeah.
So Chris is here for the Literary Connection.
He is, and he's one of New London's wonderful new downtown businesses and has helped us tremendously put this event on by helping us keep the focus on literature and the books and working with the authors. And
it's a good focus.
It's a great focus.
And tell us about what you plan for that program.
Well, we are going to have a table set up with hundreds and hundreds of books available. A lot of them will have a nautical theme. Mostly children's books, but there will be some young adult, and there will be adult sailing books.
And the readers, you have many readers who are actually authors. Mm-hmm. Is there any of that going on at this session?
Well, the three authors, there's Molly Wilson, Janet Lawler, and Anna Westbrook.
So the authors themselves will be
I do, yeah.
will be there reading.
Yes.
Yes, the authors will be there reading. There's a full lineup of events. Anna Westbrook will be reading this. You can't read this book.
Mm-hmm.
You can't read this book,
Homely
and it's you can't swim.
Oh no, you can't read this book, and it's backwards too. There's not much for maritime. She's actually a local gal.
Oh, well, that's great.
So New London has been a home for her and her family for many years,
Yeah.
and she's one of the more prominent children's authors in the area. Yeah, and you can wear it as a.
Cool.
And she came in and did a reading in our store. She's great. I have one of Janet Lawler's books. This book's Snowzilla. It's about a snowman. She actually has a book called Ocean's Counting, which is what she'll be reading that night. We're going to have this title too because it's July.
Yeah,
And people
makes
are going to be
sense.
hot.
It'll help cool people off.
It'll cool people off, and yeah, we had a lot of them. So.
Can you tell us about that genre, children's books? Because I've learned that is very much a specialty, and a lucrative specialty, as a matter of fact, to those who break into it. Can you tell us how that differs from adult publishing?
Well, the children's literature actually takes up maybe 5% of the shelf space in our store, but they do about a quarter of all of our sales volume-wise. It's a very, very popular genre, and it's the same. The national trends are exactly the same. It's a little bit more difficult for an author to break into children's. It's easier for a self-published author to publish their own children's book.
Now, are these self-published or published?
No, these are published, yeah. And there's classic books like Dr. Seuss, Shel Silverstein. These authors were writing these books in the 60s and 70s. They're still popular now. Make Way for Ducklings, Goodnight Moon. These are still in the top 10 best-selling books. They're in their 150th printing.
And we had two authors who were at Fish Tales last year who had exhibits. I don't know if you remember last year. We had Mark Shasha,
Oh yeah,
who had Night of the Moon Jellies, which we just love, and we still have posters from that book. If you love that picture of the boat out there at night with the moon jellies and the stars, we sell that in our shop.
Now, can you refresh my memory? I believe he was the illustrator. Was he the author as well?
Yeah, he was the author also.
Okay, yeah.
And then we also had the squid and the seagull, giant squid and the seagull, which is another great local author. And I'm blanking on his name at the moment from...
Scott McKenzie?
Oh, yeah, Scott McKenzie. Scott, I've done this to you before. So Scott McKenzie had a show also with us.
He needs to come into our store, by the way.
Yeah, he does
No,
wonderful illustrations and sculpture. And last year, I think we had those two, because we had our pop-up gallery across the street. We had two exhibitions with illustrators. And are any of the books you have this year with local illustrators? Because that's a very popular...
Well, funny
thing
you may
to
ask. I have 3 other books that I brought with me.
Super.
Examples of what we're going to have.
Great.
This book's called New England Stormalong. It's by Louis Arthur Norton. He takes a Paul Bunyan approach to why certain natural phenomena are created by Mr. Stormalong. He creates things such as where does lightning come from, where do tidal waves come from, the tide, and he explains it through all these stories. And then there's The Princess Mermaid and the Missing Seashells.
Princess, Mermaid, what's not to like?
Yeah,
And Ariel's going to be at the event as well.
Will she?
She's
Wow.
making an appearance.
This author came into our store. He's a Connecticut guy. He is the architect for the Nathan Hale Schoolhouse.
Oh.
And he said, I have a children's book out. So we got him in there.
These authors, are they also the illustrators of their books, or are they separate illustrators?
It's rare that an author, it's rare that an author and an illustrator are in the same, do the same book. That's definitely a rarity. There's some very famous illustrators that do multiple authors, and then there's some famous authors that illustrate all their own books.
Because one of my
Dr. Seuss.
daughters-in-law actually is the illustrator for a children's book that was published around Kansas City, because there's a special Christmas event well known to those who live in Kansas City that the story is built around, and she illustrated that book. I didn't know that this was taking place, otherwise I would have brought that down because I got a copy of that book.
Yeah, that would have been nice.
Yeah.
Well, for the day, you have authors, you have readings, you have all kinds of activities. Don't you have groups come down and have activities for kids?
Yes, and we have. There's entertainment. I'm reading from my my press release, so I don't forget anything, including it's Kidsploration with Steve Elsey and friends, singer Joseph Salcedo, Magic by Elijah's Magic, Gabrielle's Karate Team, interactive dancing with Leanna Burton, and a special appearance by Ariel the Mermaid, and dancer Todd Belcher of New London's WTO Dance Crew.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah, so it's going to be jam-packed, and that's on top of the Mystic Aquarium and Project Oceanology are providing touch tanks for kids. And of course, the restaurants and the shops in downtown New London will be open for food. And the other thing I wanted to mention was that we're asking people to consider bringing down a used children's book for donation, and we're going to be donating children's books.
Now, is there anything on this poster that is in addition to what you're discussing?
I think I mentioned everything. We have this wonderful Design Our Cupcake contest, which is actually the deadline to enter was today. So, but you'll get to come and have some amazing cupcakes.
6 hours.
I know. But have some amazing cupcakes from Sugar Cupcakery and Bakery in out of East Haven, I believe they are. And I've had them. They're amazing. So I'm sure there'll be lots of surprises, but it's going to be
Okay,
great.
is there anything further that you would like to bring up about this event and about the Fishtails? Because what I'd like to hear in a few minutes is to give us an idea of what's going on with Main Street.
Well, just to remember that the Fishtails event is Saturday, July 27th from 11 to 4 p.m. Come right down to the historic waterfront park. And we really, do this event for downtown New London and for the families of New London. So we could really use everyone's support and know you love it.
And what else is Main Street up to?
Well, Main Street's gone through a major transition with she wasn't the founding executive director, but Penny Parsekian was there for many years as the director, and she left, and there was quite a long period of time between the two. So I've just started as a part-time executive director there, and have taken the last 60 to 90 days or so to get to know the area a little bit and get to know, our resources and start to make a plan for the future of Main Street.
And where are you from?
I'm actually born and raised in Connecticut, between New Haven, Connecticut, and Hampton, Connecticut, a little town. But I've spent about the last 20 years in New York City.
I see.
Yeah.
And Anna, we'll have you back, and you too,
Thank you.
Christopher. It's just that we have our own gala to push.
Good luck with it. It's wonderful.
We want to thank you for being here.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank
See
you.
Saturday.
And,
Week from
and,
Saturday.
and good luck, and we will certainly try to be there.
Terrific.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Great.
As a matter of fact, at the end of each of these programs, we have DVDs, and we'll make sure to get you a DVD of this program.
That would be great. Thank
Sure.
you so much.
Chris?
Yeah.
We'll be by
Thank
to
you.
see the new store, too.
Yeah, absolutely. We're open 7 days, so
Great.
I'm down there 7 days.
Good. And we'll come down and see the baby, too. So now we have a real treat. No, we really do. Now, Lisa is somebody that I haven't known for very long, but if you are paying attention to what's going on with the Custom House, we have had one event after another for the last month, and it was just a month ago on Thursday. So it was just that was exactly a month ago. Yeah. That we had our first big event, and it was a press conference announcing to be part of Something Big campaign. And be part of Something Big, what is that? We knew the stamp was coming out for the Lighthouse, and we knew it would capture people's attention and that people were really proud of it. But at the same time, the Lighthouse, which we've now owned for 2.5 years, has some problems, has cracks, has lichen growing in the paint, all sorts of things going on that are not quite perfect. So we knew we had to raise money for that. And so we thought, well, the lighthouse, it's a pretty big thing.
It is.
The stamp is a pretty big thing.
It's great. The stamp is wonderful.
Yeah, the stamp is so exciting,
is.
and Lisa was great. She's a fan of the lighthouse.
I love the lighthouse.
And so we had our press conference a month ago today, where we said, be part of something big. Join with us, make a contribution, come see it for free. We had a free day where 90 people took us up on the offer to tour the lighthouse. Just be part of it, appreciate it. And lots of people have been coming forward. But the most surprising and the most immediate is sitting right here at this table, and it's Lisa Gorman. And we had our press conference on Thursday. On Friday, it was in the day, and it was on Patch. And you wrote into Patch with an email, and why don't you tell us what you said?
You were telling everybody about raising funds to restore the lighthouse, which I don't think there's any better symbol of the city of New London than the Harbor Light. I love the lighthouse. I would do anything I could for the lighthouse. And I read the whole article, and one of the things you were raising money for was scaffolding. I work for Connecticut Carpenters Local 24 here in New London. Scaffolding is a big thing that we do. So I sent my boss the link right away before I even left the house. And then when I got there, I made sure he saw it. I said, we can do something like this. We can help. And he jumped right on it, and we're so thrilled.
Chris.
Yes, Chris Bachant, the business representative for New London office.
Yeah.
We're so thrilled to be part of helping to restore and preserve the lighthouse.
So once again, I got an email, and I thought, I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it.
That's a tremendous contribution.
It was, well, and it was that we have the carpenters, maybe with the scaffolding, you're working on the scaffolding, but it's turned out to sort of snowball.
A little bit.
So tell me a little more about that.
I wish I had all the details on that, but Chris really took it and ran with
Yes,
it.
he has.
He contacted a lot of other people, a lot of other
Masons,
unions, the Masons
yeah.
especially. They came down to the press conference and looked at the lighthouse. They want to help out.
Mm-hmm.
He contacted the scaffolding company to get the scaffolding donated, so you guys didn't have to pay for the rental or anything on that.
Yeah.
So we're really trying to
And we know
do what we can.
And we know how valuable that offer is, because we did go out a year and a half ago to find out what it would cost us. So this is a tremendous contribution, and we certainly appreciate that.
Oh, I'm glad to be able to bring it to you and to help.
And
Chris,
actually,
Chris is going to be a guest on here in a couple of weeks,
Yeah.
and then we'll get all the nitty-gritty details. But I will say, one thing he mentioned at the ceremony, which I think he was at the Race Rock ceremony.
Yes.
Yeah. He said that or when he stopped by this week, is that the union is putting up the money even to transport the scaffolding, should we get it. So we had the scaffolding, let's just say $60,000. It's a huge thing, and if we have to contribute or whatever we have to do, we're doing it because we're committed. But if that is donated, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
The transporting it might be a couple $1,000s.
Yeah.
The Carpenters Union is picking that up for us, which is
it's
fantastic.
all very valuable.
And then the construction of the scaffolding, and then it goes on and on from there. But it's the hours, and but the building is going to just be glowing from the inside
Yes.
with all the goodwill.
It's gonna be
and
gorgeous.
all the volunteerism that's coming forward.
and
It's
that's-
hard to believe.
Yeah, and that's exactly the point that I'd like to make, and that is that it's been very gratifying, our experience in dealing with this, because I must say that the offer that you're presenting, I think is probably the largest and most
it's
significant.
Like compound and wonderful.
But we have had, and we continue to have offers of in-kind services, which are great, because we are a nonprofit organization. We're always hand to mouth.
Yeah, I know how to
we need donations, we need grants, we need funds, and we need in-kind services. And the reason why all of this is so relevant, as I've said before, is that we as an organization have taken it upon ourselves to be the point of the spear. We have decided that the family jewels of this region, namely these lighthouses and everything they stand for, have to stay in public hands rather than being sold off privately. There's nothing bad about private enterprise, but it's not appropriate for things like this. It's not appropriate for Yellowstone National Park. No. It's not appropriate for this. Lighthouses, as was mentioned by a foreign visitor, are to Americans what cathedrals and castles are to Europeans. He hit it right on the head. So this is what we have taken on ourselves as stewards and representatives of you, the public. It's your opportunity, it's your responsibility to donate, to participate, to provide in-kind services, and ultimately it's yours. And if, as we certainly expect, we succeed in this, both with regard to New London Harbor Lighthouse, with regard to Race Rock, which now we also own, and with regard to Ledge Light, which if necessary, we will apply for in the place of Todd and Marcia Gipstein and the Lighthouse and the Ledge Light Foundation. We expect to succeed in all of this, but succeed or otherwise depends in large part on you. We're the point of the spear, you're the remainder of the spear. I want to stress that. And thank you very much again.
Oh, you're very welcome.
Well, Lisa, why don't you tell us why you care about the lighthouse? Because you know, one thing we did after we met, you'd never been to visit it.
No.
and that's the thing about these lighthouses. They've been there, this one, since 1761, although it was rebuilt in 1801. But nobody's ever been able to visit it until we took the ownership of it. And one of the requirements of ownership through the National Park Service, not only preservation, but access to people.
It's right in the deed.
It's in the deed that we have to provide access. We do it in a controlled way, you know, because it's an active aid to navigation. But it's, you know, one of the first things we did is do a program with the schools, and they had it on this cable channel, the kids visiting, and so many people would stop me on the street. It was so nice, and they'd say, all my life I grew up looking at that lighthouse, and you have let the kids in there. It's the most wonderful thing. So I felt that way with you, because you're obviously so. Tell us about the why you care about the lighthouse. That would be kind of fun.
It's my constant, like my husband's the second constant in my life. The lighthouse has always been there. I've lived in New London all my life. I grew up looking at that lighthouse and never touching it until the day I met you, and we went down and I got to put my hands on it. That was awesome. It was just incredible. It's beautiful, and to me, it's the light that always calls all New Londoners home. It's our light, and it always shines a ray of hope down on the city.
That is beautifully said, and I think a lot of people feel the way that you feel in New London, and it's really a wonderful thing to be able to be part of that and to let people see it and touch it, like you said, and go up in the lantern. It
was incredible. Oh, walking up, it was just wonderful. The view, oh, it's spectacular. I couldn't believe you actually invited me to go up and go, yeah, come on in.
Well, we're not only inviting you to go up in the lighthouse, which we did, but we would like to invite you and your husband, who's here in the audience, to be our guests at a gala we're having. I'll give you a paper about it. Okay. It's next Thursday. So instead of being here, next Thursday from 6 to 8 at the Port and Starboard at Ocean Beach, we're going to have a little party. And it's not fancy. It's not a gala with ball gowns or anything. It's a very...
It'll be even better.
Chowder, hors d'oeuvres, and then we've asked all the bakers, well, we're commissioning, we're buying cakes of all the different lighthouses.
Oh, nice.
So it'll be chowder and cake, and we'll have Venlo Odom, who's been on this program, he plays a lot of 50s music, all kinds. He's going to have a trio, so we'll have music. We'll have some surprises.
Sounds wonderful. Thank you
so much.
It'll be great.
Well, thank you very much. And, we hope everybody comes. You can go on our website to
Yes.
find out about it, and we've just done a mailing about it.
And as a matter of fact, there's an announcement in the Day today in the Region section. I think it's page 5, which will give you the details. But the bottom line is, come on down, participate. This is your party.
And you know, you were talking about the in-kind contributions. I want to tell you a few of them that we've gotten already. Well, a sponsor of us every year is the New London Water Authority, Veolia Water. And they have helped us again this year, so we want to thank them. We have a mason. You know, the lighthouse, as you saw, got pretty badly smashed up in
Yeah,
Hurricane
it did,
Sandy.
yeah.
The walkway washed out and the wall. And so we've had some FEMA assistance, which was the big news in June. It's going to be about $40,000.
Which we have to front first before we...
Yeah, and we pay they give us 75%. But the mason that we've hired, Harold Heffel, has volunteered to repoint the base of the lighthouse, which is a couple of $1,000s again of work. So he's, you know, he loves authentic structures. And he's Austrian. He grew up working on cathedrals, learning his trade in Europe.
Oh, wonderful.
And he's doing a beautiful job right
Matter
now.
of fact, I was down there this morning, and he has proceeded, and it's really very nice.
Yeah, it's going to be really gorgeous. We're planning in the future, at some future date, who knows when, it'll be another fundraising campaign. But I will say, see, this is how everything works out. Because it's a very lucky place. Our museum is a very lucky place. We're going to put a dock in. And the other day, someone came by to see us from the Department of Environmental Protection. So I brought them over to see the lighthouse, and he said that they have grants. And that if we want to put in a dock, they have a grant that will help us, maybe up to about $25,000.
Terrific.
Isn't that terrific?
That'd be great.
Because we've been taking people in by boat, and it's always a little funky, you know, because we don't have a dock. So what we decided to do this Saturday is we'll take people in by boat, because we have these lighthouse weekends, lighthouse Saturdays. We have 5 trips.
We'll take them...
Well, it's 15 minutes to get there by boat. They'll be in the water for 10 minutes looking up at the lighthouse and hearing about it. Then they'll come back to the pier and go by car to the lighthouse instead of dealing with the pier, which we have been doing. So it'll actually be a bigger trip, a little more complicated trip, and but it'll be better.
They will have wet feet and ankles.
Yeah,
and
but
knees
Sunday soon, and with the help of DEP, we may have our own dock there. So that's all very exciting.
Would be great, yes.
It would be great.
Yes.
Another person who's helped us is Captain Scott's Lobster Dock. For the conveyance of Race Rock, they were so happy because Captain Scott, who is the great-great-great-grandfather of the Eschenfelders who run Captain Scott's, they were so happy we took on Race Rock that they provided chowder for everybody at that event.
It was delicious.
It was delicious. It was great. But
and
then,
I don't like it too much, but that was really good.
But then they did more than that, and they gave us a check actually for $1,000. And we love Captain Scott's. As they know, I'm their biggest fan because I love chowder and fish sandwiches and just about anything else down there. And
it's a great little place.
It's a great place.
It really is, yeah.
And the involvement of Captain Scott was not